respect will outdo. You can only disrespect somebody so many times before even the biggest artists in the world will have people walking away from them because they're like, yo, I can't work with that person. It's horrible. So if you can implement that, especially at this stage for most of you, learning how to be respectful of people's times and creating a positive work environment, you'll have a longer career for it. I really do believe that. All right, that's the whole shebang. I'm gonna stop sharing. Put your Q&As in there if you got some Q&As. The next up, I'm gonna share my iPad, and then while we're getting into Q&As, put your hands up if you guys want to come up. We'll actually start talking about the actual roles and responsibilities. All right. What's up, 247 community? Thank y'all for coming out. I see the chats. What's up, everybody? I know some of you guys are together watching this, which is huge because I know a lot of you guys are gonna end up working together. So hopefully y'all take something from this. I see some folks in here from the DMV for sure. ATL. Those are like our two home bases right now. But this is for everybody. So as we grow, we'll start seeing more and more people from different areas. 215-609. 215, what is that, Philly? I know 609 is Jersey. Philly up. What up, Cap? All right, so I'm gonna get into it. But before I do, as always, I want to see if my team has anything to share because we're talking about building a team. And then y'all will find out quickly, although y'all hear my voice probably more than everyone else, if it wasn't for the other people on the screen or the names you see on the screen, this doesn't happen. So Mickey, Casey, V, you guys want to share anything before I get started?
Yeah, what's up, everybody? Just wanted to mention that we're going to start having the 24/7 TV events posted in Geneva. So you'll see those posted every week, published to the 24/7 TV channel. And then all you got to do is click attend there. And then I'll have the link to actually join on Zoom. And you can easily add the events to your Google Calendar or Outlook or anything like that.
See, Mickey, that's the beauty of a team because I don't even know how to do 90% of what he just said. But he heard you guys loud and clear about, not knowing about what events was going on or how to access them. Came up with a dope solution. Casey, I know you were chiming in. What's up, bro? Definitely got to hear from you.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? No updates from me, man. Just trying to stay updated with the Geneva community. So if y'all got any questions on content, just hit me up.
Yep, and I know you're doing. We'll announce it officially soon, but I know you're helping a few artists with their branding and their content strategies. Yeah. So if you guys are in Geneva, hit Kev Cruz. He manages and oversees all of our social media. So the multiple posts, the branding, the flyers, the webinar content, the deck outreach for partnerships, the merch that's dropping soon, all of that is through Casey and his team. And then I'll definitely have him speak later because you've got a team of how many, Casey, working under you or working with you?
Six.
Six. So Casey's managing a team of 6 creators right now. So it takes a team, and within that team, there's multiple teams.
Yeah.
And then Davina is playing music.
Chime in real quick. For all 247 artists right now, we're helping out all the artists with branding. So we're gonna create a form for that real soon, like you said. And that way, anybody needs branding, like you guys can see on our 247 page, how everything looks cohesive. Like we have type fonts, logos, colors. That's very important when you want to build your online presence. So we're gonna be putting out that real soon.
Yeah, that's huge, y'all. So definitely plug in because getting your style guide, brand guide, getting your look and identity together across all platforms, not just social media, but on the DSP, so on Apple and Spotify and Tidal, getting everything in sync is really good when you're building a fan base. It's really good for people to just kind of see it and know, okay, that's that person. Just think about sports teams, right? Like the logo and the colors, you from afar, what a Commanders uniform looks like, or a Hawks or Braves or Sixers, Knicks. there's a reason that they do that branding across the board. And as an artist, as a brand, you've got to do the same. Casey and his team have been a part of this from the start and helped us build our brand from the start. So the black, yellow aesthetic, look, feel came from him. And I'm happy, excited for him to show you guys how to do that too. I wish I had a camera to show y'all how high tech Davina's setup is. Out of the two of us, you would think she was the audio engineer. She got all kind of stuff going on. She got her Rodecaster Pro, her microphones, her lights. Her mic was probably turned all the way down, / that's why she was low. But she said, hey, and told me to get started. We'll get her right before we end. But tonight, again, we're talking about building a team. I'm going to go ahead and share this screen so we can get into it. You know what? We're not even going to share the Facebook. We're going to keep this with this group here because I want to focus on you guys. Thank y'all for pulling up. So building a team, I'm wearing my independent musician or artist or creator hat, but this is really for anybody who's a part of that team. And we're going to go through the different roles and all of that. The purpose and desired outcome of this webinar is to really give you guys the steps into building a good team. And it took me a long time to figure this out. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. So in high school, I was putting together basketball tournaments. In college, I was putting together events and parties. And even when I had a 9-to-5 job, I was putting together like table tennis tournaments in the break room. So I've always been someone who's like taken an idea and executed it. But it took me a long time to understand, like, everyone doesn't think like me. I don't think like everyone else. And to build a good team, you've got to understand how to approach that. So the desired outcome from this is that you guys take away some tips and strategies to build your team. Obviously, after this, I hope you guys register for the actual course. Casey can put that link in the chat. We have a full course on our learning platform for this that's much more in depth. But this hour is really going to be about me taking about 20 minutes to go through this presentation like I always do, and then opening up for the Q&A for us to really get into like answering questions and like exchanging ideas. So when I think of a team, and this is any team in the world, the word goals is the first thing that comes to mind, right? So at the end of the day, whether you're talking about a sports team, whether you're talking about a team working for a company, or whether an artist is like, man, I need a team. At the end of the day, the team is in service of reaching goals. And before you get a team, you as an artist have to be clear on your goals, because then you can identify the team members who can help you achieve those goals. And then in that, you also can figure, like, does that person's musical style, their connections, their audience, your financial resources and their financial needs, do all of these things align to help you get to your goal? So one of the misnomers that I'm going to get out of the way right now is the idea of like, oh, I need a manager, right? A manager is a title. And if you could remove the title, what you need is somebody to help you achieve a goal. And it could be a manager, it could be an assistant, it could be a lawyer, it could be a publicist, it could be a creative director, it could be a friend, right? The title doesn't matter. It's really having that person understand what you're trying to do and figuring out how their skills, their personalities, their relationships can help both of you get to that desired goal. So one of the things we'll get past, and hopefully as I meet with you guys and connect with you guys after this, is I'll hear your language start changing from like, oh, I need a manager, to I need this specific thing. Because a manager is a title, but you may need someone to answer emails, right? You don't necessarily need a manager for email answering. You just need someone who's really good at like responding to emails. This was on the last slide, but it's really important when you're building a team to understand financial resources are directly tied to people's ability to help you. In our business, there are two ways that you usually pay people. One, you pay, or three. One, you pay somebody hourly. Two, you pay somebody on a retainer or like a set rate for a duration of time. And three, you pay somebody via commission. And all three of those options exist. And four, which is a real part of, especially at the startup world, is it's a favor for a favor, or a favor for like, I get you when I can. But those don't usually last that long. So I'm gonna stick on the three that I know, right? Paying somebody hourly, paying somebody a retainer or, a flat rate for a period of time, weekly, monthly, annually, or paying somebody on commission. 10% of all my money that I make goes to you, 20% of my shows goes to you, 5% of my merch goes to you. And you can work with people, and as long as you're honest and transparent, most people will work with you. Right. So a tip for building a team is through your network. The thing that I had to learn over time was you're already connected to the people that can connect you to the right people already. Like if you're on this Zoom, that means you're connected to me in some way. That means that everyone I know, you're 1 degree away from. And anybody that I know that they know, you're 2 degrees away from. So connecting with folks in communities like this, industry events. So as we start tapping into more industry events and creating them, pull up, show up, you may not find the person you need there, but you may find a person who knows the person you need. Work with a mentor. This is really important. Find people who have found success in their industries and learn from them. It doesn't have to be your industry. I learned more from people who were not in the music business about business than I did from people who were in music business. So find a mentor, because anyone who's learned how to build a successful company usually will have resources, relationships, tools, and tips that can help you as you're building a team, and then collaborate with other musicians, because you'll learn from each other. You'll learn how it went when they hired their first manager, or how it went when they got their first booking agent, or how it went when they got their first publishing deal and they worked with the rep at the publishing company, and what frustrated them and what they could have done different and what they should have looked out for. So these are just some tips for how to find a team member. So to summarize that, I think when building a team, the 4 things that I tell someone to look for is like, A, are you clear on your goals? If you're not clear on your goals, don't even ask anybody to help you, because it's a waste of your and that person's time. Budget, right? Be clear on how you can pay them. Even if there's no budget, because then that might be like more of a commission based, or you may put it on them to like come up with a creative way to make money with you. And it's almost better to approach things like that than it is to put yourself in a bind. Working style, we'll speak to that in a little bit, but basically, are you a figure it out as you get it kind of person, and you build as you go? Are you I need everything to be clear before I take a step, right? Those working styles. Are you email is better than text? Are you a phone call is better than email? All of those things should be taken into consideration when building a team, especially for an artist. I've seen artists get really good managers who could be life-changing for them and it not work out because that manager doesn't answer their phone, right? But that manager may be really good with emails or text messages, but that artist may need to talk to someone every day. In fact, I've had artists that wanted me to manage them, and I've told them outright, yo, I will not work for you because you need a level of connection that I won't be able to provide. I'll go to war for you and I'll help you build, but you won't be happy because you want someone who's going to answer the phone at 3:00 in the morning, and that's just not me. So working style is really good, a really good one for us to focus on. And then the last one is personality. And this one I think is overlooked a lot, but it's usually the straw that breaks the camel's back. It's usually the personality difference or clash. And the beauty of this is I've learned this from Brett Bell. And if you guys know about the podcast, if you've watched the episode with Dr. Brett Bell, he's an IO psychologist. Basically, his job is to go into companies and help them reorganize and restructure so that the goals from the top trickle down all the way to the people working. He works with major companies. So like, the CEO might be here and there may be like 3,000 people that work for the company. And that newest hire has to come into this company and understand what the company is about, what the goals are, and how they work. And there's a lot of layers between that CEO and that new hire. And if this person here is completely different than this person, his job is to come in and figure out how to create a flow of communication so that it's one cohesive unit. And that's all about personality. So the good news is, no matter the personality, there are tools, there are strategies, and there are tips that can be used to help any personality work with each other, right? And if you're a basketball fan, I usually am going to use sports for my analogies. If you think about the championship teams and the dynamics, you need a Draymond Green, you need a Klay Thompson, you need a Steph Curry, right? You need those three very different personalities to work. Nope, the same way as you need a Dennis Rodman, you need a Michael Jordan, you need a Scottie Pippen. Three very different personalities, but there's something about it that works. And when you look at dynasty teams, they usually have that dynamic no matter what teams you're looking at. And there's a reason for that. We won't go into that here. That's a whole nother book, whole nother chapter. But there's a power to a good coach or a good leader knows how to connect personalities that on paper wouldn't work to get the desired outcome, which in their case is a championship. And in your case as an artist, it might be that tour, might be a successful rollout, might be a certain dollar amount that you're making a month or a year or a week. Whatever the goals are, the right connection of personalities will make it happen. All right, I'm gonna check in. I think I learned how to do this last time. Let's see. V, can you look at the chat, make sure everybody's good?
Yeah.
I have not figured out how to do it. I apologize. I thought I had. And if you guys have any questions, put them in the Q&A. We will definitely get to them because I know it's a lot of information. I'm going to try to get through this in like the next 5 minutes so we can open it up and really get to talking. And I will get into like the actual roles an artist should have. And I'm also going to get into what I think every artist should have day one or as soon as possible. And it's probably not what you guys are thinking about. So any questions, anything so far?
Nothing right now.
Okay. All right. If everybody's good, give me a thumbs up or a
Fire sign.
fire emoji. Give me something. I can't see you guys. I'll be honest. I hate talking to the screen when I can't see people. I love talking with people. So this part of the webinar is always like, ugh, for me. However, I know the information's important, but I look forward to us like connecting. All right. So tips for maintaining a strong team dynamic. So once you have your team members, and a team is more than one person. So once it's you plus anyone, there's a few tips that I want to give you. Sorry. Set clear expectations. So when I say goals, that's like that's the desired outcome of us working together. Expectations for me is how often do we communicate? Expectations is how many hours are you expecting to put in? Expectations is who's responsible for this or that. So expectations are usually assumptions for most of us. A lot of us haven't been taught how to communicate expectations clearly. These are things that I wish they taught in high school and in middle school, because I think we'd be better as a society. But learning how to communicate clear expectations is the number one step to having a successful team. And we can go through some of the practices for that later. Communicate regularly. I don't care if it's a daily text. I don't care if it's a weekly call. I don't care if it's a in-person get together. If you have a team and you aren't talking regularly, it will not work. I'm not saying you got to be in meetings all the time. I'm not saying you got to be on 4-hour meetings a day. I'm not saying you got to be all up each other's face every day. But if you're not communicating, you're leaving room for error, and that error grows as time passes. So communicate regularly. Respect each other's time. One of the main reasons I've seen teams fall apart is a lack of respect. And usually the first thing that is disrespected is time. So it's little things like if you tell someone that the meeting starts at 7, be there at 7. If you tell someone you're going to do something on a Friday, do it on a Friday. And don't waste people's time. Like, don't schedule 2-hour meetings for something that can be done in 15 minutes. You will drain and kill a team by thinking and assuming that people's time is just whatever. And then foster a positive working environment. Sounds corny. It sounds like something that a HR rep would come into a room and say, but it's one of the most overlooked things in our industry in particular. I'll give you an example. You've probably heard the horror stories, and I've seen it firsthand in the studio. When these bigger artists get these assistants and get these people that work with them, and they're doing really well as an artist and they're established and they know that they're the reason that everyone's getting paid, you can tell that they disrespect and they don't have a sense of respect for some of the people that work with them. And as a result, the people that work with them aren't working in their best interest. That's all I'll say. It's like I've seen artists come into the studio and treat their team members like shit. And then their team members, as a result, don't really go the extra mile for those artists. And as time passes and I see those artists kind of fade out, it's no surprise to me because the people around them aren't really feeling them. On the flip side, I've seen artists who have been super respectful, super humble, super encouraging of their teams, and super like just appreciative of what's happening and being in the moment. And usually those artists are the ones that as time passes, I've seen them kind of continue success and grow success. Even if they're not with those same team members years later, they find a way to continue being successful because the people around them will work harder for them. So that positive working environment is just making sure the people that work with you are feeling good about where they work. And the thing that I learned, and it took me a while to learn this again, is everyone isn't the same. So a positive work environment isn't necessarily the best work. Like what works for me may not be what you enjoy and vice versa. So part of that onboarding and part of that initial conversation with your team is finding out what they like, finding out what they enjoy, finding out what they don't like, so that you can create environments that they enjoy being a part of. So if you ever guys ever want to hire me, if you get a PlayStation 5 and NBA 2K, you pretty much know you've got a good working environment for me. It doesn't take much. And I say that jokingly, but at the same time, like in our studio, because we literally live there and God, we put in the hours. I remember when we got our Xbox and like 4 controllers and we would have like Halo competitions or whatever games we were playing at the time. Those breaks really like were like a reset and recharge for us. Something as small as like a $200-300 game system created an environment where people were like, man, I can't wait to like when the session's over, I'm gonna go just clear my mind and play some video games for like 15-20 minutes before the next session. And again, I love video games, but as a studio owner and a guy who was like paying the bills, the idea of like everyone stopping to play video games was like, I'm not gonna do that. Thank God for V. She's like, nah, I think the guys need it. And it was a game changer just having that. Eventually we had multiple, but having that Xbox in the game in the studios really allowed for an environment that people were excited to be a part of. All right. So goals and roles. If you work with me closely, you know there's 3 words that I usually use when someone comes to me with an idea: goals, roles, and the third one is responsibilities. Setting clear expectations, be clear about your goals, be clear about the roles to prevent misunderstandings and ensure everyone is working toward the same goals. So again, goals are clear for me. That's the desired outcome. That's if we do this, this will happen. My goal is to get on a playlist. My goal is to get a tour. My goal is to make enough money to not have to work a 9 to 5. My goal is to get a publishing deal. My goal is to get a record deal. My goal is to fill in the blank. My goal is to get a placement with big artists. Whatever the goal is, be clear. Roles. The role is who's doing what to achieve that goal. Make sure that 2 people aren't doing the same thing. It's a waste of time. And when they find out, they'll be very upset. Or make sure there's something that no one is doing. And then the one piece that you need for everything to work out is being overlooked. And that goes into responsibilities. Roles and responsibilities to me are one and the same. That's why I remove titles from it. It's not about having a manager or an agent or a publicist. It's about knowing who's doing what to achieve the desired outcome. So again, we talked about communicating regularly. So one of the things I said we would speak about this later is feedback. So as a leader, communicating what you want, what you expect, what you want everyone to do, that's easy, right? That will come very naturally to most of us. The other thing you've got to learn how to communicate, and I would do this at least once a month with your team, if not once a week, is communicate their thoughts and ideas. It's like give them a platform and give an open space to get feedback, right? I have a goal. I'm bringing you on to help me get this goal. And I may have how I think the goal, how we get to that goal. But it's not a good team if I don't at least come to the team and say, but what do you think? And if you've worked with me, you know that I'm always going to ask, like, so what do you think? It's not that I don't have ideas or can't come up with ideas, but it's not that my ideas are always going to be the best. In fact, again, like working with Mickey, working with Casey, and always working with V, I'll come with the idea and be all excited. And then by the end of our call, we may keep like 1.5% of my idea because everyone's going to bring such dope creativity and approaches and things I've never even thought about before to the table that it'll be like, oh, shoot, like, yo, I never even thought about that. Let's do that. So getting feedback, and then not just feedback related to executing an idea or plan, but also get feedback as a leader. Is there something I could be doing better? Is there something that I do that you don't like, or that frustrates you or makes your job harder? It's hard to get that feedback. Trust me, you're not perfect. I'm not perfect. I took me a while to figure that out. Like, you've got to get feedback from your folks to understand, just because even when things are going well in your mind, and even when you're executing and hitting all the goals and hitting all the metrics, if your team is really frustrated with something you're doing and you're not addressing it, you're going to see that castle crumble. So getting feedback, not just on how things are operating in the company, but feedback from yourself as the person that everyone's turning to for leadership, is really important, because that ensures everyone is on the same page. And again, I said respect each other's time. I'm gonna double down on that. Foster a positive work environment. Like, those two, you can be broke and not be able to pay somebody. You could be not established and not a big name, so it's not like putting "I worked with artist X" on their resume is like oh my god. But if you can be respectful of someone's time and create an environment where people want to be, they will help you get to those goals. I'm a byproduct of this. I've been a part of it with other people, and I've also walked away from amazing situations because this wasn't the case, right? There's no dollar amount and there's no level of exposure that respect will outdo. You can only disrespect somebody so many times before even the biggest artists in the world will have people walking away from them because they're like, yo, I can't work with that person. It's horrible. So if you can implement that, especially at this stage for most of you, learning how to be respectful of people's times and creating a positive work environment, you'll have a longer career for it. I really do believe that. All right. That's the whole shebang. I'm gonna stop sharing. Put your Q&As in there if you got some Q&As. The next up, I'm gonna share my iPad, and then while we're getting into Q&As, put your hands up if you guys want to come up. We'll actually start talking about the actual roles and responsibilities. All right, so I'm gonna put artist in the middle. I can't see the chat, so I'm gonna need Davina to communicate as I ask questions. We'll make this interactive. If I'm an artist and I have a goal right now, most people think I need a manager, I need a booking agent, I need some kind of PR. I always hear that. I've heard the assistant thing. I need an assistant. Perfect question. Mike just asks, who should be the first person you look to add to your team? That's exactly what we're going through now. So in the chat, just put in, videographer. Keep listening out the people that you would put on a team, or you want on your team, or think an artist needs on their team. Engineer, producer, look at that. Yep. Songwriter, keep them coming. Hopefully y'all can read my writing. I've been practicing for y'all. Digital media person. I got stylist. Lawyer, thank you. That's a good one. Band members. I like that. Financial advisor. Google or Chat GBT, now that the future is here. Performance coach. Accountant, I'll put that under financial advisor, but could be one and the same or different. I've seen both. These are really good. Is that what I see? Therapist, I love that. Instrumentalist, vocalist, producer. So I think I'll cut it here. So this again is crazy, right? Like and thank you all for 24/7 artists, right? Community. I'll say mentor. one artist needs all of these things to be successful. That's crazy. Like, just think about that. Like, what other career do you need all of these people touching you to be successful? But I'll say this, and there might be people who don't agree with me. There might be people who do. The person I think every artist needs the most is the one that 10 years ago I never would have said this. I would have argued crazy. 5 years ago I'd be like, maybe. Today I'm like, hell yeah. Jesus. We all need Jesus in our life. And I think it's a combination of some things, but I believe it's this person right here, your digital media person. I call them your creative director. I think if I'm a brand new artist and I need to build a career, the first person I need access to is someone who understands sound, visuals, style, mood. It's a person who may not be an engineer or producer, or could be, may not be a songwriter or lawyer, but could be. But it's the person that's going to help you come up with your brand identity. I think they're going to help you craft your sound. I think they're going to help you with your social media. And I'm going to highlight that because in 2023, without that, and you're an artist, I don't know if you make it. I really don't. I don't know if, unless your goal is to, and even with the label deals, right? The labels literally use social media as their A&R tool. Like they don't even use Spotify data. They use TikTok data before they use Spotify, which is crazy. So the reason I like a creative director, and you can be your own creative director. I should have led with this. As an artist, you are all of these things above to start. You're everything up here to start. And then one by one, you have to replace yourself with other people. So I think this digital media person, which I will call your creative director, is going to be responsible for helping you basically craft who is the artist. And I always kind of look at it as like the artist is separate from the person. So the person is the person that's at home with your family eating dinner. The person is the person that's getting the Christmas gifts. The person is the person that's going to church. The artist is the person that is creating the music, sharing the music, performing the music. So that person's identity, that artist, that alter ego, almost like a superhero, is different in a lot of cases than the person, than just your government 9-to-5 version of yourself. Your creative director's job is to create that difference. And if you can do that yourself, there are some artists that I know who are super creative and can do that themselves, then you filled your first role. If you can't do that, then that's the first person I'm looking for. And I think the power of a creative director is once you work with someone who understands creativity, it helps you in finding the right producers. It helps you in finding the right songwriters. It helps curate your ear and your taste to finding the right engineers. And it helps with the touring and your live show and your performance and your set list. It helps with the photo shoot, the aesthetic for your social media, what kind of content you can create, what the content look and feels like. You know, if you're not really into any of that stuff, but it has to happen, finding that person first makes sense. Because a lawyer only helps you when you actually have something to protect. You don't have anything to protect right now. A booking agent helps you when you're in a position to sell tickets and actually move units. You're probably not there right now. A producer, I think, is needed. I would put them pretty close. But the crazy thing is you can literally sing on old instrumentals, put them on TikTok and blow up like tomorrow. So you don't even need a producer to write songs or to put music out. So again, the one thing that I think in a day and age where if you're in this room and you're looking at building your brand and building your career, the use of social media is an undeniable tool that you're going to have to use. And if you use it properly, it usually accelerates everything else. So I would say creative director is the first one. So that said, as promised, I told you what I would think the first one is. I want to go into my approach with these folks. So when I say these folks, these roles and responsibilities up here. Let me just move this down here. My fancy old iPad. Shout out to Ray, the Apple plug for this iPad that I've had now for like 6 years, changed my life. Put in the chat what you guys think about creative director. Again, everyone may not agree, but put in whether you think that makes sense for you guys. If you guys feel otherwise, share away. And don't forget to ask your Q&As. All right. So one of the things definitely makes sense, Camille. Yeah, it's Riley. Thank you. Great info. Thank you. Thank you. So one of the things that I want to go through now is the exercise that I've gone through with artists to help them figure out how to build their team. So when I look at this list up here, and if I'm an artist in here, one of you guys or young ladies, and you're like, oh man, like where do I start? You do. This is a great exercise. It works for any career, any entrepreneur, but it really works for artists. I use it and I've seen it work for artists I've worked with. It's January 19th today, or it's 17th. So we had about 2 weeks left in this month. For the rest of this month, I want you guys to write down everything that you do as it relates to your career. Everything that you do. And when I say everything, I mean if you spend 1 minute doing something and it's related to your career, I want you to just take a piece of paper or a notebook and write it out. And I'll give you an example. I'll get started, and then you guys can start typing in the chat things that you may do. So you may check email. Right? I may check my email every day. As an artist, I'm checking my email to see if anybody's reached out, checking my email to see if there's any opportunities, anything I've signed up for. I'm looking to see if 24/7 Artists has sent me anything, any workshops, webinars, or grants or opportunities that are up and running. You may check your DMs, right? That's the way that you ask people to reach out to you for features or for collaborations. So I might check my DMs daily. Someone said write a freestyle. Yep. You might write music, right? And how often you do that? I might say I do that weekly. Maybe not every day, but a few times a week, right? Edit/post social media. Hell yeah. Social media. Create beats. I need to do more of that. I'm behind right now. Edit, post social media daily. Create beats. I'm going to say weekly. Line content concepts. Is that line up content concepts? John Bowles. I'm not sure what that is, but I'll say content concepts because that's separate and different from editing and posting, right? So and that's kind of what Casey's talking to, like getting your brand idea and then coming up with concepts for like what you're going to post, and then you got to post them. You might attend webinars, right? You guys are doing that right now. So attend webinars and networking events. What else? What else you guys do for your careers right now? I hope you guys are doing more than this for sure. Right? If you're an engineer, you might record yourself, record music, right? Book shows, yep. Contacting press, hell yeah. Sending out that link. Updating websites. I just had a convo with an artist today announcing a tour, and they hadn't updated their site in almost 2 years. Updating your website. Press kits, updating press kits. Yep. Again, this is what it takes to be an artist. Marketing. I'm just going to put like marketing, and that could be like digital ads, right? So if you have digital ads, whether you're doing them yourself or someone else is doing them, you should be getting some kind of report and figuring out, is it working? Royalty statements. Yep. Royalty statements. Then I talk about like you got to upload your music to the aggregators. You got to check your stats. You got to experiment with plugins, right? You got to experiment with plugins, and I'll just put that under like, this is like learning, right? Learning and getting better. Playlist pitching, you got it. And this list we know can go on. Work for income, we got practice, we got work for income, shop. So now I'm gonna stop here because I could go forever, and I don't even know if y'all can read my crazy ass handwriting. But this is the exercise. So once you write down everything, I want you to bucket them into 4, almost like a checklist, or like color code them. I'm really big on colors, but like, am I good at it? Do I like it? Do I like to do it? Am I not good at it? And do I not like to do it? These are the 4 color codes. And I use this iPad religiously. So for me, what I would do is probably say I'm good at it would be like green, and not good at it would be like red, and maybe like do not like to do it is maybe do not like to do it is maybe orange, and like to do it, I'm gonna go with a blue. Nope, you know what? I'm gonna go with a gray. That's my favorite color. I hear you laughing, Liesel. So I go through this list now, and I start looking for anything that is green and gray together. And I look for anything that is red and orange together. And now this is why I say don't worry about finding a manager or an agent or a lawyer or an accountant. It's about finding people who can do the things that are red and green. I mean, red and orange. All right. So let me say that again. It's not about finding a manager, agent, assistant, publicist, PR, digital marketing. It's about finding the people who are good at, who my red and orange is their green and gray. That's what I'm looking for when I'm building my team. And again, this list we had here doesn't even touch 90% of what these people do. It doesn't touch the therapist stuff. It doesn't touch the booking agent stuff. It doesn't touch the financial advisor, accountant stuff, right? The layers beneath them. It just covers like, okay, we put royalties. But let's get into it. Like, you've got to download, like if you're really running a music company, you got to download monthly royalties, and you've got to make sure your royalties are matched up well. If you got to pay people, you've got to make sure that you receive that money and paid people properly. At the end of the year, when you do your taxes, you got to make sure you've got a 1099 scheduled for them, and that's sent out. You know, it's top of the year. We got to send ours out in like 2 weeks for last year's. So all those sub steps go into just like accounting. We didn't talk about merch, like designing merch, and then getting the test quality, and then like setting up the photo shoot, and then getting enough ordered for the photo shoot, and then approving the photo shoot finals, and then getting them uploaded to the website, the Shopify, and then getting the Shopify store set up, and then linking that to your Stripe. Or you got to set up a Stripe now. The Stripe's got to be connected to your bank account. Did you set up a bank account? All these things are layered. If you enjoy doing those things, and it's a green or a gray, run with it. You may be an artist who handles all of your social media stuff till the day you die. That might be your jam. That might be what you love. Do it. You may be an artist who never posts on social media another day in your life, right? There's no right or wrong. It's what works for you. So now when I say, okay, I'm hiring a manager, if you have to give someone a title, I want a list like this, and I'm going to say, all right, you're my manager, and guess what? You're going to come in and you're going to do, let me do the red. Let's say you're my manager, and you know what? I hate checking emails. So you're going to check emails daily. But ironically, I like DMs, so I'll do that. You're my manager, but you know what? You're going to maybe look for webinars for me to attend and book them and get them on my calendar. You know what? You're my manager, but you know what? You're going to book shows. It's not a booking agent's job, but you know, I don't want to be reaching out and sending my EPK out and all that. you're my manager, so guess what? You're going to be updating my press kit. And then you're my manager and you're going to be responsible for uploading music. So now for me, my manager might do these 5 things. But if I bring like Asa up here, or if I bring, someone else in the community up here, Lizo might come up here. They may say, no, I like checking my emails. I don't want no one else checking my emails. I want to do my own emails. So then at that point, it's like, okay, well, what on your checklist is your manager going to do? You may hire a booking agent, and your booking agent may do a little bit more than my booking agent, or a little bit less. And this list, like by you creating that list today, right now, you've now laid out what your company does. Whether you make $1, $0, or $1 million, by having this running list of what you do every month, when you start bringing people on, this approach, which is a very rudimentary, like basic approach, but it's worked for me and many others, is a great way to start in building out your team. Because again, what if your engineer was responsible for managing your catalog? You could tell them that day one. That's something you're communicating. Hey, you're my engineer, but guess what? You're going to be responsible for maintaining my files and uploading to the distributors, right? And your engineer might be like, yo, I love that. Like, yo, I'm a detailed oriented person. I love attention to detail. I'll definitely do that for you, no problem. I may charge you an extra $15 to do that. But guess what? That extra $15 you're paying them to upload to the distributor, A, might save you time. B, will save you a headache. Because if you don't like uploading to distributors, if you freak out every time you're like, I don't know if I uploaded the right file, I don't know if I did the right names, I don't know if the spelling's right. If that's not your thing, what if your engineer could do that, right? Maybe your manager's not really good attention to detail, but they're a great salesperson. They can get you gigs, they can get you brand partnerships, they can get you collaborations, but they're not really an attention person. They don't pay attention to details. Then maybe your manager's your outward facing person, but maybe you internally have to be paying attention to details. So the dynamic's going to change depending on your skill sets and what you're good at. That's why that early communication is so important. And it's also why I don't believe in like saying I need a manager. I'd rather someone say, man, I need someone who's really organized so they can help me with some of the administrative stuff. I need someone who's really outgoing, who can help me like get shows and opportunities and like reach out to people to see if we can collaborate. I'd rather you come to me with that. I can help you then, than if somebody's like, man, I need a good manager. It's like, I don't know what a good manager for you does, because it's like me saying like I need a vehicle. It's like if I don't tell you that I'm moving lumber and you give me a sports car, it may be the nicest sports car in the world. It might be a multi-million-dollar sports car. But if I needed that car to move lumber or move my kids or move from a house to another house, like the sports car isn't going to do nothing for me. Vice versa. If I'm like, man, I need a car for the night, and you're like, yo, take my old beat up pickup. It's like, no, I'm going on a date. Like if I don't tell you what I need the car for, and I'm just like, man, I need a car. That's what it's like when someone's like, man, I need a manager. It's like, don't tell me you need a manager. Tell me what you need to do. Tell me what the goal is. Tell me what's being done, and we can work backwards. All right. Can you bring him up, please? I can't see the screen, and I don't want to get off because I'm pretty sure people are copying this. Thank you, Quiz. Asa, I can't see you, so you're just gonna have to talk because I can only see my iPad screen.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. No, I just raised my hand when you had said my name because I thought you had wanted me to come up. But now that I'm up here, I wanted to say that part, this last part is really nice, of saying what are all the things that you do on a daily basis, because either you're making money from it, you're making a whole lot of money, you're making a little bit of money from it. You really see what you do as a business. And I think that is a super good practical point. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Thank you. And so just let's run through this exercise while I got you up here.
Yeah.
So I've come to know your personality.
Mhm.
What's something that you feel like you do well and you enjoy doing that you would want to continue to do for yourself as an artist?
So the performing, the recording the songs, the making the what's it called? Co-producing, making the actual records. I love networking, meeting people face to face. I like planning events and executing events. So all of those things. Now, when it comes to like the administrative side of things, like sitting down and keeping a record of Like I like how you showed those templates that you use. Like you got to make sure you use these templates. Like get on the computer, write everything out. Those are the things that I don't like doing as much, but I've come into the habit of just doing it and just getting it done.
Yep. And that makes sense. I think you're super outgoing. Like I could imagine you don't mind booking time for the studio session, right? Like,
No.
right. That's a task and it's one that has to be done. But
Mhm.
I could see if I was like, yo, after every session, make sure you get all your files, all your stems, everything organized in a Google Drive and use Notion and get it organized properly and make sure it's time stamped and divided the right way. If you
Yeah.
had to spend 3 hours after every session doing that, I don't think you would enjoy that as much as if I was like, yo, after the session, pull up to this networking event. I got some folks I want you to meet.
Yeah, that's spot on.
All right. So but both have to happen.
Yeah.
And that's why as you build a team, yes, you may need a manager, but if you and your manager both are outgoing, love to be around people, love to network, love to create, and neither one of you likes to or is good at the more administrative stuff, you're
Mhm.
setting yourself up for failure. And you're
Fact.
setting your manager up for failure. They may be a great manager, but they may not need to be your manager, or they can be your manager, but you still need to fill that other role. And that's why as you grow and expand your career, by having this running list and checking off the things that you, again, I color code everything. So green and gray for me is like good at it and like to do it. And then red and orange is not good at it and don't like to do it.
Yeah.
The more I can get the red and oranges off of my plate and other people are doing it, the happier I am every day working. The happier I am that every day I'm working, the more I'm going to work. The more I'm going to work, the higher chance things are going to take off.
Fact.
And the goal in this, hopefully, when we say communicate and create a positive work environment, is don't hire somebody and give them your red and oranges, and it's also their red and oranges.
Fact.
Like that's a mistake that I've made many times. It took me a long time to figure this shit out. Like, don't hire somebody and they're not an organized person and give them a role to organize shit.
Mm-hmm.
They may be really smart. They may be a gem. They may be like the person you need, but you put them in the wrong position. You see this all the time. My guy, Brett Bell, you guys get a chance, please listen to that podcast. It's with Brett Bell on the 24/7 Artist Podcast channel. He talks about like, there's a reason why some people are like superstars when they're like on the floor at like a retail company or a sales company or wherever. And then the second they get upgraded to manager, they're a shitty manager.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's like, damn, like, yo, you was like enjoying it. Like they were at work. Everybody loved them. Then they get the management position and it's like, they're all uptight. And it's like, everyone's like, oh, you changed. And like, oh man, and they're not even that good. But it's like, no, like they don't want to be a manager. Like you took all their green and grays away from them. You took everything they love to do away from them and you filled their day with their reds and oranges. Well, if I fill your day with shit you don't like to do and you're not good at it, it's going to be a little hard to be happy.
Yeah.
And that's, Davina said, that's me. Facts. It's with Davina, we learned that. I'll use it because she's A, the co-founder, and B, I've said this a million times, like without Davina, none of this pops off. But like when we were in the studio and Davina was in the role she was in, which is really administrator, but really she was what she is now. She was our community mom for the studio. And she killed it. And the biggest artist in the world, the biggest managers, biggest labels, everyone loved when Davina was attached to something because they knew shit would get done because that's who she is. Because of that, we were like, oh, Davina, you're killing it. We're going to move you into this other position because you're going to kill it in sales. And when we moved Davina from the position she was in to like a sales position, it didn't translate. It wasn't the same level of success. And it seemed like she was super stressed at work. And for us, it was like, yo, like it's a better position. It's bigger and more money. And it's like, no, she really just enjoyed talking to people. Like she enjoyed, she loves listening to you guys' music. When y'all post into Geneva, she goes like all day. That's all I'm hearing over there is like she's listening. She's like connecting with y'all. She's buying merch. That's what she loves to do. So putting her in a position to not do those things, no matter how smart she is, no matter how great she is setting her and our company up for failure. And so as you guys add on your team members, just remember these color codes. Persol, I think this is probably a template we can probably cook up and help people with, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
I feel
Notion.
like this is something we can put together. All right. What's Geneva? Uh-oh. Somebody say what's Geneva? Get him. Nah, John.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yep. I'm a mute. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, Geneva is basically like Discord. If you know Discord, it's a place where like a lot of creators and companies will host their community spaces, kind of just keep people up to date. We use Geneva like people use Discord. Geneva is just kind of new and being marketed to other creators and just people in entertainment. So they're building features that are going to make it easier for us to do things like, collaborate on virtual sessions pretty soon and that kind of stuff. And it's just kind of like a little bit cleaner, and we're connected to the team over there. So having that direct line of communication is easier for us to like request features. And if you guys want something like different in Geneva, then we can easily take that to the Geneva team. Whereas it's a lot harder to do that on platforms like Discord.
So John, I appreciate you asking. If you can connect with John and make sure he gets into Geneva, that would be dope. Geneva is where pretty much all the people in here are tapped in, plugged in. We've got some really exciting stuff coming in Geneva in the community in like a matter of days. Some opportunities. We got some grants coming out. Yeah, it's a lot. So definitely stay plugged in. Continue plugging yourself. Yeah. So that's the overall building a team. I know it's a lot. There's a full course. I didn't want to like teach the course and there's already a course. So you guys make sure you go sign up for the building a team course on our learning platform. Davina or Casey, if you guys could put that link in the chat. It's free. All of our courses as of right now are free. So please tap in with that. In the Geneva, I'm there. The team is there. So as you guys are building a team, as you guys have questions, need advice, tap in there, let us know. We will help you. Super important that these webinars are of value. If it was of value to you, please give me a thumbs up or a fire emoji in the chat. Because I want to make sure that these are oh yeah, I see the corner joint. I didn't know you could do that. I see the hey, thank you all. I want to make sure these are of value to you. So also you guys are gonna get follow-up emails from this. Please send back feedback, anything that you think we can do better, anything that we can do different, anything that we're not teaching that you want us to teach. We've got a crazy lineup for February and March that we're locking in now. We've got some, I can't it's crazy what's coming. So, but it's not for me. I get excited, but I want y'all to be just as, if not more excited. So if y'all like, you do teach us how to do this or like, whatever, please let us know, respond to the email or in the community in real time and our team will put it together. Yep, webinars for the rest of January and I'll post it in 24 TV channel in Geneva. Thank you for that, Mickey. And I know we're also going to put it on the calendar. Tomorrow, there's a Market Yourself webinar with Sabrina Holder. Sabrina is in our community. Sabrina's done some music marketing for myself, for record labels, for indie artists. The reason I love working with Sabrina is she gets it. She understands the independent mindset. She knows everyone doesn't have crazy major budgets, and she can work magic with free and with like a little bit. She can help you instill like just certain practices. She's helped me with my social media presence. I hate social media personally, like for me to use it. And I learned a lot from her as to like how to almost separate myself and create TikToks and Instagrams that were of value, that it no longer feels like work for me. It's just an extension. So tap in tomorrow. If you guys haven't RSVP'd already, please RSVP for that. I'll be there in the audience learning like you guys, because marketing yourself is something I still got to learn how to do as a producer. Pie Shop in DC 218. We got some 24/7 artist members performing in DC at a show that Slash is putting together. I think that graphic and those assets are coming out, but February 18th, we've got that. What else we got?
More resources for producers.
More resource. So y'all, I hope y'all know what's coming. We got some coming. And I don't like jinxing stuff. So just stay tapped in. When I say producers, we got y'all. We've got y'all. Producers, songwriters, managers. We've got programming specifically for y'all. Opportunities specifically for y'all. Plugs, relationships, discount codes, giveaways, access to major producers and songwriters who are going to come in and like connect with y'all. So yeah, we've got some stuff coming. Thank y'all for rocking with me. I wanted to wrap at 8, but we started a little later. This was dope. if there's anything in this that you guys want to follow up on me on or follow up with me on, hit me in the community. Hit me in Geneva. Again, the four things when you create your list: am I good at it? Do I like it? Am I not good at it? Do I not like it? Right? That's business. I don't care what company I got hired by tomorrow. I don't care what multi-billion-dollar company that exists. That's the four buckets that everything lands into for everybody that works at every company. And if you can figure out how to put people in a place where they're doing stuff they're good at and they like, you will have a successful company. I built it myself. We built a company from nothing all the way up. And it's because we did that really well. And we had a lot of rough patches while we were building. And it was almost always tied into either I had people doing things they didn't like and they weren't good at, right? That creates inferiority complex and people lash out in different ways, or not creating a positive work environment. I was a workhorse. I was like pushing people and trying to like do the impossible. And I wasn't checking in and tapping in and making sure my team was good. And thank God for Davina. She did that. And those two things are really important. So again, the big takeaways from this Zoom is make sure that you're not worried about the title, focus on the goals and the roles. Make sure that you learn how to communicate clearly with your expectations. Make sure that you create a positive work environment. And the steps to doing that is by creating a list of what everyone's doing and seeing, are they good at it and do they like it? Or are they not good at it and do they not like it? And there's some stuff that we can talk into, and as we do these webinars, we'll dive deeper into like how to get your oranges to become your greens and a whole bunch of stuff that I've learned from Brett Bell and other folks. But for now, hopefully this was helpful. Good luck as you guys build your teams. If you're in the community, which you should be if you're in this room, as you're going to build a team, if you have any questions, tap in with our team and we can definitely help advise. We'll see you tomorrow at Sabrina's webinar. And then next week, I'm teaching what next week, V? It's either starting your own label or something. I'm teaching next week. I know that. So I'll see y'all tomorrow. Business model canvas. Ooh, good. Oh, starting indie label. All right. So starting indie label, we'll do that. And then the business model canvas, I actually need a volunteer for that. I'm going to post it in the Geneva in our community, because a business model canvas is a tool that I learned how to use to write every business plan that I've written the last 8 years. If anyone is working with me, you know that I'm a bust the business model canvas out before we do anything. But it is like writing a business plan, but it takes less than an hour. So I actually want to volunteer, because what I'd love to do is walk somebody through the business model canvas for their business, which means that whoever the volunteer is, you will walk away with a business plan. And all I need is that you're in the community and you're ready to do your business. So
it's a business model canvas is on the 25th.
25th.
Steps to starting an indie label,
is when?
the 31st.
Okay, so business model canvas, we'll get a somebody in for that. RSVP for both. They're both in the Geneva. I'll put in the opportunities bulletin for the volunteer for next week, so that someone's gonna walk away with a business plan, and hopefully those who attend can also we'll send out a printout for you guys to print out so you can fill it out as we're doing it step by step. And then building a record label, which is the 25th, starting an indie record label. Sounds big, but really it's like, if you are putting music out, you are already a record label. So I want to show you what you should be doing, where you should be registering your music, what legal contracts you need, and everything in between, so that you can start operating like a real record label. So we'll Slash says he'll volunteer, but he'll be Bruno Mars at last year's Grammy. So we'll put the opportunities in there. I'm done. Team, is there anything you guys want to share? Anything we missed?
Nothing on my end. I think just, keep a lookout for all these webinars in Geneva and make sure to register on the Zoom link and then also RSVP.
Cool. Yep. And Shango, we're going to add the 218 asset to the community soon. I know the team's working on that. Thank you for that, Mickey. Casey, thank you. Tap in with Casey again if you guys want to plug in with his opportunity for branding and style guides and creative direction. Again, first person I said you need is that, and then he's basically offering the first step of that. So tap in with Casey in the community. Yes, V's color palette is elite. Her background is
Yeah, definitely
crazy.
tap in.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna check out. Appreciate you all. Thank you again for the 247 team. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, peace.